ThreatLocker is rewriting the script on how organizations approach endpoint security with their zero trust solutions. They don't just monitor threats, they proactively stop them while giving you complete control over what can run on your systems. It's not just defensive, it's about locking down your environment like never before. This shift enhances security, reduces vulnerabilities, and sets a new standard for protecting organizations from cyber threats. Come witness it for yourself. ThreatLocker is hosting their annual Zero Trust World in Orlando, Florida, from February 19th through February 21st, 2025. This isn't your typical conference. Zero Trust World provides hands-on training, expert-led sessions, and interactive labs, providing you with real-world strategies for implementing zero trust in your organization. Learn from industry leaders, test your skills in practical challenges, and connect with cybersecurity pros from around the globe. Don't wait. Secure your pass today by visiting ztw.com or reach out to BarCode Security for a special offer. We'll see you there.
Syntax. Engaging. This is BarCode, a cocktail-powered podcast that dives deep into the personalities, criminals, and heroes that have come to define security across the globe. Please join our host, Glanden, for another wild foray into the incredible world of humans and how they intertwine with today's modern technology. We hope you enjoy today's episode. Activate.
Welcome to BarCode. I'm your host, Glanden, and today I'm joined by Slava Konstantinov, a macOS lead architect at ThreatLocker, where he drives and designs the implementation of advanced cybersecurity solutions to protect against sophisticated threats. Slava is a seasoned IT professional with over a decade of experience and is an expert in macOS security. He is also a recognized authority in defending against foreign cyber threats, including those from nation-state actors. His technical expertise and global perspective make him a renowned voice in cybersecurity, especially in safeguarding digital ecosystems from advanced cyber adversaries. Slava, welcome to BarCode, my friend.
Thanks for having me. Thanks, Chris. It's really nice to be here.
Absolutely, man. So if you don't mind, in your own words, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so my name is Slava Konstantinov, and I'm a lead architect, as you all already mentioned. So I'm working for the ThreatLocker, but my journey, it starts like a long time ago. If you don't mind, I'm just going back a little bit. So I started like when I was in school and stuff. So I started to used Windows a lot. But at the same time, I have a lot of neighbors and friends that was asking me like can you reinstall Windows or help to clean the computer up because it's slow or something like that. So I was doing a lot of these things, and I saw there's a lot of people, they had adware on their computer. Like they exchanged browsers and something like that. And I got so tired of it. And basically, I just wrote a small app that was cleaning this thing up, because I was tired to clean it myself. And after that, I started to just lean into this cybersecurity because I was like, oh, maybe it's my destiny to protect people. I'm just kidding, but yeah, so it was something like that. But I got so tired of Windows, and then I didn't have money to buy a Mac, so I installed a thing called Hackintosh. So it's a Mac OS on the PC. It was pretty hard to install, pretty hard to set up, but after you set it up, I knew on the Mac it's easier. But after you just install it, it worked. like out of the box, like Apple says, it just works. So I probably had like PTSD from Windows back in the day, from that kind of stuff, and I was like, oh no, it's so good, so it works. It just works. You can install it. And back in the day, because Mac wasn't so like big, and there was always viruses on the Mac, but there was not a lot. I haven't seen one back in the day, so I was like, oh, it's cool. It doesn't have it. So I just started to continue cybersecurity journey, but like with loving and working with Macs, basically like that. And I've worked with a lot of different cybersecurity companies and even outsourced companies, and we've worked with a lot of clients. We did like EVs, we did firewalls, we did like a lot of drivers on a Mac. It's called kernel extensions. So I've done a lot of things like that and just leaned into Mac because I started as a Windows still, because Mac wasn't a thing back in the day. I couldn't find a job to work for Mac. But like as it grew, I just started to lean into Mac more.
Yeah, I do want to address, that common perception that Macs or devices that run Mac OS have a lower risk profile. And I feel as though Windows is still, the most targeted because it's in more organizations or larger organizations that appear to be more Windows heavy. So I do want to sort of validate that with you. Our systems that run Mac OS generally more protected against enterprise-based threats.
I mean, there's no perfect security. I mean, obviously, so on the Mac, there's more protections than Windows. Apple doing pretty good job, but at the same time, there's still a lot of like exploits found in the like vulnerabilities found in the Mac OS, and Apple's doing a good job fixing that. But it doesn't mean that it's perfect. And obviously, when the like OS or some kind of like any OS, it gets more popular. There's more people try to target that. That's the only thing that people thought that. Remember, if you remember, there was a ad called like Mac versus PC. That's Apple, and they said like, oh, Mac doesn't have any viruses. I mean, it's not true, but people believe that.
Yeah.
And now it's getting more popular, and it's getting more like targeted attacks, especially for the Mac OS, because a lot of people in the companies, like top people in like a lot of organizations, they use Macs. Even like org itself can use a lot of Windows computers. A lot of people, they want to use Macs, and like if they don't care about the software, I mean, software is pretty much the same right now, but if they don't care, they just like, oh, Mac is more protected, Mac is easier to use, or something like that. So they started to use Macs, and it's getting more popular. It's getting into the enterprise. It's not as popular as Windows, but still.
Yeah. Now, there was a long-running urban legend that Macs were bulletproof. And,
yeah.
It's
that was true at all.
It's not true. Not true. So I did recently read an article about the Cthulhu stealer, and I possibly may have just butchered that name there, but from my understanding, this is malware designed specifically for Mac OS and intended to steal crypto wallets and browser creds. And again, from my understanding, the sophistication level here wasn't very advanced, and so many suggest that it may have to do with some of the ways in which the security community has once dismissed the susceptibility of Macs in the past. So because this was such a prominent attack in 2024, would it be safe to say that, organizations with a meaningful OS device footprint probably has that stealer lurking somewhere in their environment?
I mean, most of the stealers, who we're talking about Cthulhu, there's Atomic Stealer, there's I forgot their names, like Poseidon, something else. I just can't remember it now, but so
they're all formed from like this core Atomic Stealer. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We can say that, but they're not persistent in the system. If we're talking about stealers and even ransomware, there's obviously there's a backdoors. It's a different story, but if we're talking about stealers, most of the time, not saying all of the time, but most of the time, they do their job and they just gone. They don't want to be detected. So,
Right.
and it also, they work as, so it's called malware as a service. So the developers who wrote that, hackers or whatever you call them, they wrote an app and they just sell it. They just sell
Yeah,
it to potential like threat actors, and they're not distributed like to the computers. So they don't want to be detected because it's their business. So they're trying to get into the computer, steal data, and just be gone. I've seen multiple computers that I knew that was compromised because the data was stolen. It was like only on that computer, and it got stolen. We know it got stolen, but at the same time there was no signs. There was like some couple of leftover files on the computer, but there was no signs of anything that was there, like that stole its data basically. So
interesting.
that's a lot of things. I mean, obviously, like spyware, it can persist on the computer. Like even like some applications with the backdoors, obviously they're gonna persist, but they're not doing stuff most of the time, like bad stuff. They're just waiting until someone asks them to do that.
Interesting, man. So I mentioned this. You're currently working for ThreatLocker. ThreatLocker is known for its advanced cybersecurity solutions. And I think more generally now, organizations are deciding to use Mac. I think it's becoming much more heavier in enterprise environments. I'm just curious, how is ThreatLocker addressing that?
Yeah, so we use the zero trust approach. Basically, a zero trust approach is don't trust anyone except the one you trust. So what we have a lot of products. It's called like application control, storage control, network control, detect, elevation, ring fencing. So we have all of these products. They can work separately or together to protect your system. Like for example, application control is the your computer only allowed to run certain applications that's in a database that we learned, or so we know of, or you know of, and you trust them. And this approach, I mean, for it works good for organizations because usually organizations, they know what software they use it, right? And they don't want anything else, because sometimes like social engineering attacks, I've seen people running software on their work computers that was not supposed to be there. And it sometimes it's just regular app, and sometimes it's the app that steals your data or like gets into your organization through you like that. So this is how we address this kind of attacks. But there's a storage control, so we can stop applications or system itself, even like accessing like USB drives or something else. So we can block USB drives, we can block specific folders, we can allow specific applications to access the folders. We have ring fencing that basically says, okay, we allow an app to run on your computer, but at the same time, the app itself, I'm not gonna say it's a sandbox, but it's almost like a sandbox. So we protect your files or other like interactions with your computer software, where we protect your computer by saying what this app allowed to do or not allowed to do. So go to the network, go to the like run the scripts from the like access terminal, or like access some specific folders. Also, we have network control, which manages network, obviously, and we have elevation, which manages like users' credentials. If you're a standard user and you don't have admin password, we can elevate some kind of applications without using a password. And we also have detect, which is not on Mac yet, but it's currently in development. It's gonna be there pretty soon, I hope. So it's a MDR solution.
Got it. So Slava, with your expertise in defending against nation-state threat actors, what have you observed in terms of evolving TTPs, and how are things different now? What do you anticipate to see that could be changing in 2025? And what should organizations be doing to consistently, proactively prepare for new attack types?
I mean, obviously, first thing I would do is it's not a perfect, but get a trainings for your employees. That's
Yeah.
the first thing, because most of the attacks happening from social engineering. So, and it's obviously there's a 0-day like exploits there's no one knows about there, but still at the same time, social engineering is the first and the biggest thing now, because like you ask like what they use, what they're gonna use more. They're gonna use AI more
Yeah.
to fake voices, fake your face, like video calls and all kinds of stuff. So this is the thing that I think gonna be evolving like for the 2025 most, because we've seen a lot of this kind of attacks like in 2024. It's creeping up.
Right. Right. So it's still social engineering, just
Yes,
a new form
most
factor.
of them.
Yeah.
Not all of it, obviously. There's, as I told you, there's 0-day exploits. That's everywhere. And Apple's doing a good job fixing that, but it's there's still a lot of it. So you gotta know what you're running on your computer. Because to get a lot of most of the exploits that I've seen, not all of them obviously, but they used by a software that you run on your computer. Basically, it's like a legitimate software. You think it's legitimate. It can be even signed. And an Apple term, it's signed and notarized. So you run and you think it's legitimate software, but it has a backdoor, or it escapes the sandbox, or it's like do some kind of shady things on your computer without you even knowing that. So run trusted software, please.
Yeah. I'm using a trusted software here, so don't worry. So when you design and implement security solutions, I'm just curious, how do you balance the components of productivity and usability with comprehensive security safeguards? Especially in environments where you have macOS, you have Windows or other OSs that coexist. So what do you have to keep in mind to accomplish this?
I mean, obviously, if we're talking about like business logic of things, like from user perspective, it's pretty much the same, because we still have applications, we still have file system, we still have network. Implementation is different for every OS, but at the same time, like if we run some application, the executable file of that application we can calculate its hash. And the hash, if something changed, hash in the executable file, hash is gonna change. So what we do, it's the same for every operating system, same for file system, same for, as I told you, for network, it's exactly the same. Implementation wise, it's completely different. But users shouldn't care about implementation details, right? But the challenges with macOS, Apple does not allow us, like third-party developers, to go into kernel anymore. So we don't have drivers, or how Apple call it, kernel extensions. We don't have it anymore. So they present us with tools to detect a lot of events. But at the same time, Apple strictly says, oh, you can do this, this, or that. And we can't do so sometimes we're trying to be creative and trying to find some workarounds to make it better, because a lot of things, so we're really struggling with productivity. In Zero Trust approach, we need to see all of the events and we need to respond to events as quick as possible. Because there's some kind of events that we may stop the system from doing. Or until we make our decision, Apple gives us a deadline for every specific event until we make decision, block it or run it. So that's a pretty big challenge, because sometimes it takes more time to respond to some kind of event. So we gotta be more creative. That's what I'm gonna end.
Okay, so Slava, you thought you get away without hearing an AI question, but I got one for you. So with AI and machine learning continuing to aggressively influence the threat landscape, are there any specific dangers or specific advantages or disadvantages that Mac OS environments should be aware of in this regard?
I mean, it's the same as Windows, so it's social engineering attacks. So I don't think like that there's something specific for Mac. I've never seen one. Like, I mean, obviously, like it can target Mac, but like from the user standpoint, it's still the same. Obviously, with the Chat GPT, you can like people can write like simple malware. They can like they can write simple things. I mean, obviously, it's not gonna write everything for you,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, if you ask the question in a way that it's not gonna recognize you want to write a malware or something, it's gonna give you some pieces of code. It's not perfect at all, but at the same time, you can use it.
Yeah.
Even like regular users can do simple things with that. And using social engineering AI to get into your computer, they can run a lot of things and like just steal your data at least.
Yeah, for recon purposes, right? Using
Yeah.
ChatGPT to target those creative environments again where you tend to see, a very Mac OS heavy presence.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people, so when they run some app, a lot of this Cthulhu stealer, and a lot of them, they ask user to, oh, can you type in a user password? And they present the custom window for that. And a lot of users just type in the password. And
Yeah.
like it's pretty easy to steal. You don't need to have like a Mac OS vulnerabilities or like exploits for something in Mac or Windows, whatever. If you type in the password, you just give it away.
Yeah, straightforward.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to those looking to specialize in macOS security specifically? Are there any particular skills, experiences, or training that you would say are essential to success?
I mean, I've never had any like specific trainings or like certifications. I've been like just playing with macOS by myself, reading books, and like first and talking to smart people smarter than me to learn from them. And first of all, I mean, it doesn't matter like if you started your journey as a security researcher or if you already established security researcher for Windows or Linux, you got to know internals. So every person should start with that. Obviously, some reverse engineering and detecting techniques. So like it's books, it's knowledge, it's just experience. So you gotta start doing from small things and just grow and try to find smart people, like people who know what they're doing, and they're gonna help you.
Great advice, man. So, Slava, where are you currently based?
I'm based at Orlando, Florida, where the ThreatLocker headquarters is.
Yeah, I'll be down there next month for Zero Trust World, so I'm looking forward to that. So when I come down there, or if I have others listeners that are coming down, or they're visiting Orlando soon for a security conference or for other reasons, are there any good bars in the area that you would recommend I go to after a long day, and what makes it special?
Yeah, I mean, after a long day, usually I go home.
Home bar.
Yeah, it's a home bar. I have small bar in my house, but I tend not to drink like during the week.
That's
Try
good.
not to.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, so I'm not sure about like really good bars. Like, I mean, I go to bars, but usually I don't. I can't say I don't care, but at the same time, I don't have like specific bars because I'm trying to explore.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like my favorite, it's not something you can do after work, but it's Epcot at Disney.
Oh,
So
yeah.
this one is really good. If you want to go, they have a drinks around the world. So
Yes.
that's pretty fun.
Yes, I've done that. I've done that.
You'll get pretty drunk, yeah.
You also have City Walk at Universal.
Oh yeah,
too.
City Walk, yeah. City Walk and Disney Springs. It's also because Epcot is a park, so you gotta pay to enter that. But like City Walk and Disney Springs, it's free, and they have a lot of cool bars there. There's karaoke. Actually, there's karaoke. They have a live band in the karaoke, so you can join. And I mean, they have a list of the people enlist yourself there.
Okay.
But they gonna pick whoever sings with them. But
Oh, okay.
it's a live band. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, you don't want me to sing. No. You would
But
lose
I
people.
mean, it depends if you're drunk.
Yeah. Then it don't matter.
No one cares.
Okay. If you opened a cybersecurity themed bar, what would the name be, and what would your signature drink be called?
Oh, that's hard. Uh, Obviously, not to be super creative. Like it's I brew,
I brew.
yeah, Apple style.
I love that.
Yeah, yeah. I can't think like I need to sit and think. I can't just do like that. I improvise like that. Yeah, but if we're talking about drink, probably at the like a brain hack.
A brain hack. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's got to be a strong one.
Yes.
Just put everything in it and hack your brain.
I feel like that one could hurt. That one could hurt.
Next day.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you so much for your time, Slava. Really appreciate it. Before you go, tell our listeners where they can find you and connect with you online.
Oh, they can find me at ThreatLocker. So you can connect with the ThreatLocker. We have a YouTube channel. We have LinkedIn page. We're basically almost everywhere. So you can contact like ThreatLocker, and I'm here.
Okay, man. And I'll see you down at ZTW soon and
I'll be
connect with you
there.
there. So
Yeah, looking forward to it.
yeah. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. You take
Thank
care.
you.
Thanks.
Thanks.